strategy. So keep in mind, content is king. I want you guys to post content. It doesn't matter if you're the absolute best person in your field, in your industry, in your niche, or whatever. If you're not posting content, if nobody knows you exist and they can't find you, they won't be able to do business with you. You absolutely have to have top of mind awareness with your target client and do it in the form of content and, the push and pull method. So, content would be a good pull method. Um, in sales, you need both, right? So you need a good content strategy for marketing purposes so that, again, when your audience is ready to make a purchasing and buying decision, that you are the person they go to for that service. So you have to have your content, you have to do it with consistency. I post content every single day at 8 o'clock in the morning. I schedule them out usually a couple of days or a week ahead of time. And then I will generally have another post in the afternoon. It's within several hours between, 5 and 6 hours or so between posts. That way, one doesn't decrease the reach of the previous one. However, it's important to note if you're starting from zero, don't go from 0 to 10 overnight. Number one, it's not practical. Number two, you haven't made it a habit and built consistency yet. Number three, nobody's going to see it because they're not ready, right? Either you don't have the following that acknowledges that you're even alive yet, or you haven't built up that pattern of consistency yet. So I would recommend, if you're going from 0 posts a week, go from 0 to 3. And then in a week or two, go from 3 to 5. And then in sometime after that, after a few weeks, 5 to 7, 7 plus, right? And again, this span can happen over a couple of months where you go from a very low post amount to a high post amount, but you have to have a build up period. One, people have to know you exist. But it's not just about your content. So while content is extremely important, I also want to touch on the fact that it's equally as important, if not sometimes more important, to comment on other people's content. You commenting on other people's content is borrowing their reach. How? Well, when you leave a comment, especially if it's a nice, thoughtful comment on somebody else's post, then people see what's that? Your little tiny picture and your headline. That's again one more reason why your headline is so important to dial in. It should be really clear what you do when you look at your headline. So they see a valuable comment, they see someone that's insightful, somebody that's positive, someone that's smart, someone that's done their homework, someone that's a visionary, somebody that has a personal brand. They see someone that has this personal brand. Now they see your title and your picture, and people from that audience now can follow you. So, again, commenting is a great way to infiltrate other people's networks, build trust, build credibility, build authority. And it's, again, another free way to market yourself, right? Take it as a chance to market yourself. Think like a business first. So, with commenting, how can you leave a thoughtful, detailed comment, couple of sentences? It's got to be more than 12 words. And maybe tell a story in the comment. Use a real life example, something that you've learned. Same logic goes for the post that you create. Same thing. Tell a story. What can you teach somebody? What valuable insights do you have? And convey knowledge and share knowledge. That's the only way you're going to build up content that gets momentum and traction over time, which builds leads, builds opportunities, and eventually creates revenue. So, some important things that, again, we've talked about this before. You have multiple different learning styles within your network. So, in order for you to build content that leads to that authority, that eventually leads you to growing and expanding your business, is if you have that mixed media approach. So, live streaming, utilize it. Audio rooms, utilize it. Newsletters, utilize it. Static post with just words, utilize it. Something that I would consider like a personal brand post with pictures or a short clip video of yourself that you upload from your mobile phone, utilize it. These are all different ways and mechanisms for you to get a hold of more people. Again, increase your reach. With anything, you want a call to action at the end. What is your call to action? Do you want people to follow you? Do you want them to subscribe to you? Do you want them to inquire with you about services or products? What have you? Make sure it's a gentle, very gentle sale. It's a gentle push, but have a call to action. Maybe the call to action is leave a comment. Leave a comment, right? And it could be an action word, word or two. Leave a comment that says brand me, and I will send you a complimentary personal branding resource so that you could get started on your journey today. What did I do? I established trust. I created a call to action, added in credibility, added in subject matter expertise. I have a solution that can help you. But what else did I do? Added value. Here you go. Here's a resource, no questions asked. All you have to do is leave in the comments, brand me, and I will send you a complimentary email resource. So again, you see what we did there? Call to action, encouraged, commenting, which is encouraging our analytics to grow, which over time increases our reach potential. But then I've also added value to them. They gave me something, I gave them something, everybody wins, right? So these are good ways, good mechanisms, and good practices that you want to keep in mind when building a strong content strategy. You want to have multi-mixed media. Think about different learning styles, different preferences. Borrow other people's networks through commenting. Borrow other people's reach by showcasing them on your live show or by hosting a joint audio room together or even doing a simple collaborative post together. You create it, they share it, or they share it, you create it, whichever. And either way, you're grabbing more of an audience. Then you encourage that person, hey, when you share this, ask your followers to follow my page at the end. Make it even easier by writing a call to action for them. Hey, would you mind including this at the bottom so that everybody can like and subscribe and watch more of this content? Great way to have somebody else help you with your mission and building your audience, increasing your reach. Now, this is important because with personal branding, we don't want to think short term. We want to have a long term game and a long term mindset and approach to everything that we're doing. If you would have told me just a couple of years ago I would be writing a book, I would have thought you were crazy. But once I started developing my personal brand and gaining influence and authority, well, it became a natural evolution for me. But without this, influence that I had built over time, without this trust that I had built over time with my audience members, this community, this network, it wouldn't have been possible. So the establishment of your personal brand through content is an excellent way to start having that success. Again, start growing beyond what you're already growing and experiencing right now. This is how you scale and do it long term. So content strategy, don't go from 0 to 100, in a very short amount of time. Make sure it's scalable. Make sure it's complementary for your schedule. But keep in mind, there's absolutely no excuses why we can't generate original, thoughtful, thought-provoking content on a regular, if not daily basis. Think of a couple of years of experience that you have. What are some lessons that you learned in the last several years? What are some powerful lessons that you learned in your lifetime? What are some failures that you've had that you have experienced that have helped you grow and become the person that you are today? What experiences have you had in situations where you felt like you were in a toxic work environment, or um, if you had a circle of friends that wasn't good and you realized it and decided to become a different person because of it? Take us through a self improvement journey and a journey of empowerment. What's something that you've lived through that is unique that most people haven't experienced? Give me an eye view into your world. It builds trust, it builds respect, it builds credibility, it builds likability, right? These are certain things that we want in our content. We want it to be authentic. There's absolutely no cookie cutter approach to this. It's got to be authentic to you. It's got to show your target audience who you're about and why. What makes you different? The best way to showcase your differences is by displaying your authenticity, vulnerability, sharing stories, sharing truths, sharing failures, sharing hardships. I've never met a leader who has not failed. In fact, most leaders that I know have failed more times than most people even try. It's why they're leaders. So don't be afraid in your content strategy to show up as a leader, to tell times that you failed, because ultimately that's the kind of person I would want to work with. I don't want to work with somebody who's had it perfect their whole lives and just woke up one day and figured it all out. And honestly, they've never had a stumbling point, right? I want to work with a real person that's been through a journey, that has seen things that I haven't, that's been through things that I haven't. I want to work with somebody who's a visionary, who's inspirational, who's motivational, who challenges me, who challenges themselves. So think about the dream person of who you would want to work with, emulate that person. Who do you want to be? Who do you want to show up as when you're on social media, when you're building this brand? Really think about that, because no matter who our target audience is, most of them are leaders, right? So and regardless, leaders don't follow followers, leaders follow other leaders. So we always want to make sure we're coming at, our content strategy with a leadership approach in mind, demonstrating authority, displaying or transferring of knowledge, conveying of knowledge, displaying authority by being empathetic, by being natural, by being authentic. These are ways we go from no personal brand, nobody knows we exist, nobody knows what service or products we provide, there's no differentiating factor between us or anybody else, to somebody else entirely, to somebody that is set apart and is differentiated in the marketplace, is differentiated on LinkedIn. Your goal is to be a thought leader through content. Now, just with on the subject of content, again, having a mixed media approach, the goal is for you to have people who are engaged. It's to have people stay on your posts for a longer period of time. So you'll want to create posts that are meaningful, that are thought provoking, that encourage others to think beyond what they've thought of in the past, right? Tell a story, a brief one. But you can incorporate so many different kinds of media content to your portfolio on LinkedIn just alone. So carousels are a good way. Carousels, it's where you have a post and go to the next arrow and you see multiple different posts. What that does is it encourages people to stay on your post for a longer period of time. The LinkedIn algorithm, because someone is staying on your post for a longer period of time, now perceives that post to be more valuable. So at any point in time when we post, the LinkedIn algorithm distributes it to a small percentage of your audience. If you get more engagement, more contents, more people staying on a post for a longer period of time, what it does is it distributes it a little further. So this is why mixed multimedia approach to content strategy is really important. Again, it's a good thing to have multiple different types of posts. It's really boring if somebody only posts pictures, if they only put in carousels or only video media uploads or only live streams. You need a different approach. So newsletters, LinkedIn live streams, carousels, static pictures, branded posts that could be designed in Canva, for example, as well as mobile uploads are all important and should all be incorporated into everyone's content strategy. Now, one of the reasons why video is so important, let's stick on video for just a moment. I'm sure we've all heard the saying, a picture says 1,000 words, haven't we? A picture says 1,000 words. Well, what does a video say? Well, a video might say 10,000 words, right? So while videos tend to get less organic reach, naturally, that's just the algorithm, they build your brand in a more powerful way. And the reason is because nothing shows your personality more than video. Now, I believe the statistic is something that 90% of human communication is nonverbal. So 90% of human communication is nonverbal. So therefore, video is so much more powerful because you're getting that nonverbal and that verbal communication all in one, but you're seeing somebody, in a natural kind of state. You're seeing hand gestures, you're watching their facial gestures, their posture, their inflection and tonality of their voice. You're seeing their sincereness and their authenticity in a much deeper way than you would with other forms of media. So, video is an incredible way to build trust and credibility, build that subject matter expertise, but also build your brand. Again, if people can see you interact with them through a video, they feel like they have an emotional connection to you over time. This is powerful in establishing that trust factor. You want to be able to form an emotional connection with people so that eventually it turns into a conversion, right? A relationship, a conversion, a reoccurrence of a customer. That's the goal. So a really good way to do that is through video, and it says about 10,000, maybe 100,000 words compared to a picture that says 1,000. Amplified even more with a live show. Why? Well, live, there's no rehearsing. It's absolutely the most authentic level of you that is possible. This is huge at building your credibility and your brand. It's showcasing you for 100% authenticity. You have no scripts, right? And if you have a guest, you have no idea exactly how that interaction is 100% going to go. So when, especially you have a guest and you're able to think on your feet and you're able to ask them intelligent questions in real time and have banter, the person starts to associate themselves with that guest. And they say, that would be fun if I was on her show. That would be fun if I worked with her or him. That would be enjoyable interaction to have, would be to work with that person in some capacity. Should I ask if maybe we could work together? Now, all of a sudden, prospects start coming to you. This is power. This is that magnetism, that attraction quality that is so powerful with marketing. So powerful. So keep these in mind as you develop a content strategy. You want to share pictures, tell a story. Same thing in video. Brief story, keep it under a minute, 30 seconds to a minute. You want to have video testimonials from your clients, social proof. You'll also want to have third-party collaborative efforts with someone else on LinkedIn. And you'll want to have some kind of a newsletter or blog that you share that's a well-written post so that someone can consume and reconsume. You'll want to have text post, right? You'll want to have, again, carousels and all of these different levels of things. Mobile uploads from your phone with captions. Now, it's really important to have captions with video. So LinkedIn now has a feature where you can have captions in video. You can also turn off that feature. And if you have a captions app, which is available on the iPhone, captions app, it's just called Captions. It's a little purple app. It allows you to also input your captions there as well. So that can be uploaded. All this same content, by the way, can be uploaded to any other social media platform. So if you have, or I guess almost other, I don't think every one has a live version yet, but TikTok, 30 seconds. So that same 30-second video that you did for LinkedIn, transfer it to a TikTok or to a Facebook as well, or to a YouTube short. Start growing. It's a great idea to concentrate on LinkedIn and to keep your focus and really build authority on one platform before going to 5. But I do encourage people to go to more than one network over a period of time. First is building up that consistent habit of posting by showing up, right? Then taking that same content and repurposing it for Facebook or for Instagram or for Twitter or TikTok or YouTube or all of the above. But you first have to build up the level of consistency required. And all platforms, regardless of what platform it is, require an engagement and some type of reciprocity within their algorithm. So keep this in mind, but it's still a good idea to have these banks of influence out there on alternate networks. And I call it a bank of influence because at any point in time, you never know who's watching. Now, thinking of LinkedIn posts and content, when we post, we're told how many likes, how many comments, and who, and it shares with us a number of views, right? So that's your reach. We don't know who those views are. So it may say 1,000 views, 10,000 views, 100,000 views. But we never really know who those views are. But somebody's watching. And you would be surprised at who's watching. So that goes the same for all of those other platforms as well. You never know who is watching. And by not posting, ultimately what that's doing is diminishing an opportunity for success. Again, I will repeat, you could be the absolute best person for the job. If no one knows you exist and they cannot find you, they will go to the person that they can find and know exists. It's very simple. So much of our careers, our lives, we focus on building a talent, building a skill set, building some technical knowledge base. When 85% of our financial success in life comes from our ability to negotiate, lead, and basically our personality. So 85% of that, communication as well. Now, that statistic was taken from the Carnegie Institute of Technology. the Carnegie Institute of Technology. Again, 85% of our financial success is due to our interpersonal skills. Therefore, if we use those interpersonal skills, our authenticity, our emotional intelligence, our leadership ability, our ability to tell stories, our ability to solve problems and relate to others, you can see how our success on social media and with our presence, with our brand, is then amplified, and it just has such a more resonating power to it. So keep this in mind. This is a deep dive strategy session. Start somewhere. There's no such thing as perfection. Zero. It doesn't exist. So don't strive for perfection. Strive for consistency. Consistency over time, and build that habit. Build that awareness and start with authenticity and an approach to content that captures a wide audience within your market.